It's the mid-17th century, and the streets of Delhi are choked with dust and a restless, angry crowd. Right through the center of this chaos, the rightful heir to the Mughal Empire, Prince Dara Shikoh, is being paraded in chains. This public humiliation was carefully orchestrated by his younger brother, Aurangzeb. By dressing Dara in rags and dragging him through his own capital, Aurangzeb intended to break the prince's spirit before taking his life. People on the rooftops hurled stones, dirt, and filth at the royal captive. Yet those watching closely noticed an anomaly. Dara wasn't crying or begging. He was perfectly calm. In the face of his own public execution, the prince held onto a singular conviction. He believed that the physical body is temporary clothing, and that the true essence of a person, the soul, is an immortal entity that cannot be killed. To understand how a Mughal prince achieved this absolute peace while walking toward his death, we have to look at the ancient Indian texts he risked everything to study. Looking at this portrait of Prince Dara Shikoh, we see a man born into the absolute zenith of imperial power. But while his siblings maneuvered for the throne, Dara spent his time seeking answers to spiritual questions that imperial decrees couldn't solve. He trained extensively under prominent Sufi mystics. Through them, he arrived at the conclusion that divine truth is universally present, regardless of the specific language or religion used to describe it. This conviction led him to a massive intellectual undertaking. He gathered scholars from across the empire to help him translate the Upanishads, the philosophical chapters of ancient Indian wisdom, into Persian. He documented his findings in a treatise titled Majma-ul-Bahrain. In this work, he presented the idea that Islamic and Hindu theology are two oceans mingling into a single body of water. To build this bridge, Dara sought out the foundational logic of Indian philosophy, the Vedas. This image captures the riverbanks of the ancient city of Kashi, known today as Varanasi. It was here that Dara consulted with ascetics, like the scholar Baba Lal Das, to decipher these complex texts. He learned that the literal translation of the word Veda is knowledge. It represents a science of absolute truth. This technical image shows a manuscript of this ancient Sanskrit text. The Vedas are considered apauruseya, or unauthored, and Shruti, that which is heard. As seen from the red phonetic markings, these truths were transmitted entirely through precise sound. This method of oral transmission ensures the knowledge remains active and present in the practitioner, preserved through continuous recitation across generations. Because they aren't tied to a specific author's biography or a single point in time, the Vedas provide an eternal framework that anyone, in any era, can apply to their own life. Ancient scholars categorized this knowledge into 4 distinct collections: the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharvaveda. The first 3 form a foundational triad known as the Veda-Trayi, organizing teachings into 3 strict modes: verse, Rik; prose, Yajur; and song, Sama. Applying these rigorous formatting rules to thousands of mantras requires an immense level of mathematical and linguistic precision. Restricting these concepts to rigorous meters and melodies acted as a failsafe for human memory. It allowed scholars to preserve millions of words with perfect accuracy for centuries before the introduction of paper. This linguistic resilience suggested a solution to a question that fascinated Dara. Why did the core of this philosophy remain intact through centuries of political and military conflict? Baba Lal Das explained that the culture's survival wasn't found in its physical borders, but in its internal focus on the question, who am I? Back in Delhi, the brutal reality of imperial politics ran its course. Aurangzeb succeeded in taking the throne and ultimately executed his brother, Dara Shikoh. Yet history presents a striking reality. Aurangzeb claimed the crown, but the universal ideas Dara translated and championed survived him entirely. The texts Dara risked his life to study serve as an indestructible blueprint for the soul. And while a tyrant can destroy a body, the pursuit of truth always outlives the executioner.